Are you blocking signs from your pet in the afterlife? So many people want desperately to hear from their pet in the afterlife, hear from their pet on the other side, have a dream about them, or smell them, or have some incredible message happen. And yet, they're not getting the signs. And if you're here on my channel, you've probably looked through my videos to see that I have a lot of videos about these signs and what they could be and how they work. But when you are in a place where you're just not receiving the signs, it can feel really disheartening. My name's Danielle MacKinnon. I'm an animal communicator, which does mean pet psychic, which does mean I connect with animals that are alive as well as animals that have crossed over. I kind of specialize in animals that have crossed over, and I want to help you with your pet loss journey, connect to your pet better, reconnect with your pet on the other side. So, today we're going to talk about whether or not you're blocking signs from your pet on the other side. And we're going to talk about what you can do about that. And at the end, I'm going to take you through a little exercise to help with it. I can't fix it. This is all up to you and your journey. But what I can do is I can give you assistance in understanding what's really going on and help you work your way through this. So our animals on the other side do send signs from the other side. They can send sounds, they can send smells, they can send quick visuals, they can manipulate the TV or your phone. You can hear them barking in the background. Like there's so much stuff that our animals that are on the other side can do to give us signs. And yet, when we are deeply in grief or when we desperately want these signs, we very often don't get them. So I'm going to explain a little bit to you about how signs work, and then I'm going to talk about why you may not be getting the signs. So first of all, when an animal first crosses over, this is what I have observed, which is that when they first cross over, there might be a time right about when they first cross over where you get a sign, and it's usually just like one. For most people, if it happens, it's just one. And then there's not any for a little bit, and that's okay. Not everybody gets that initial sign right away, but those who do get that one initial sign right around crossing over time, it's like, what a gift. What a gift. And yet, in some ways, it's harder because now they got that one sign and then they don't get any for a while. There's a little bit of a period of time for most animals' souls while it's like they're adjusting to being on the other side. It's like they're getting used to it. So they're still connected to you from the other side, but they're just adjusting. They're taking some time to figure stuff out. They're also, and this is really important, they're also letting you adjust to being on the other side. To them being on the other side. They're letting you adjust to not having their physical presence around, which is why I've seen there's kind of like this little drop off in signs after that potential initial one. The reason, as they've explained to me for this, is that think of it this way: if somebody is near you, like let's say I'm sitting next to another person here, even if I'm not looking at them and they're not making any sound, I can still feel them there. I can still sense them there. It's the same thing with your animal that has crossed over. If they cross over and then they're hanging around all the time, now it's almost like it's harder because you're not getting an opportunity to have a little space to experience not having them there. So you're stuck in this kind of like in between place where they're around, but you can't see, feel, hear, and touch them, but you feel like they're around, but they're not really around. And so I feel like the dropping off that happens in signs right in the beginning is actually very helpful for many people, even though nobody wants it to happen. Then, once the animal has said, all right, we're ready, I'm ready to start sending signs, they're going to send signs. But what do they base the readiness on? They base the readiness on a few things, one of which is where you are in your pet loss journey and what you most need in your pet loss journey. So, grief, 100% is going to be there. We're all going to grieve. We love our animals, and it is the hardest thing to lose one. How you handle your grief, and if you mix other emotions like guilt into the grief, and What you're learning at a soul level through this animal's passing all factor into how many signs, when the signs, and in fact, also what signs. What signs is this animal going to give you? And the thing is that you, as the human who's missing your beloved pet on the other side, you can't be like, well, I'm handling my grief like this, and I have only this emotion mixed in, and I didn't do guilt and da da da. Like, it doesn't work that way. Your animal on the other side is still connected to you. They still know your soul purpose. They still know what lesson they're working on with you, and they know what is going to be best to help you in this journey. Challenging, I know, especially when you're like, but where are the signs? So, part of not receiving signs can be that you are not in a place where the animal feels it would be most beneficial to you at the soul level to receive signs. I know it's sucky because you think you're in the best place, but we have to trust that the animal actually knows what's going to help you the most. And that animal is way more connected to the big picture, to your soul purpose, to your soul's lesson than you are. We humans, we're not so great at that, right? We kind of figure it out and then we lose it. And then we're like, we're not great. Animals, they get it though. They totally get it. So, A, we want to trust that there is a bigger picture to the process that's going on that your beloved pet on the other side is clued into. So that's A or one or whatever. I don't know. B or two, I don't know, is going to be if you are feeling your grief and you've mixed in on top of that grief, you've mixed guilt. Guilt is the one. If you have mixed guilt in there, it really complicates that animal being able to send you signs from the other side. Grief, super normal and healthy. It's like, of course you're grieving. Of course you miss your beloved pet. Of course you want them back and you wish you could touch them again. The guilt thing, that is a superhuman thing that only we do. I should have done this differently. I wish I'd been there. I didn't do enough. I should have spoke up. Like all of these things. And that actually really gets our grief process stopped up because now we're doing the human thing of beating ourselves up. And a lot of the time, what all that beating ourselves up energy does is it distracts us from our own grief, from our grief, our pet loss journey, from the stuff that is really healthy for us to be experiencing. So, the guilt thing, if you are feeling a lot of guilt, I'm going to suggest that you watch my video, Do Pets Choose to Pass? I will link it so that you can understand. Or I have another video I can link as well about that to help you understand about this idea that you had some control, even with euthanasia, that you had some control in some way over whether or not they passed because you didn't. Even though you, as your human brain tells you, you think you did. You did not. At a deeper level, they chose all of this stuff. So guilt can actually, it covers up the grief. It mutes it. I know you're like, but no, I feel guilt and grief. I get it. But you're not able to be with your grief and experience your grief and allow the grief. Because when you allow the grief, eventually the grief also brings in all the awesomeness, all the good memories, and they start to intermingle. And that process is actually ends up being healing. But the guilt kind of does this. So I'm just going to ask you, if you're not getting signs, are you beating yourself up? Are you in the grief place? The guilt place. And the third thing that can really block you from receiving messages from your pet on the other side is when you're trying too hard. I say this to my students in my animal communication classes all the time. They want to learn animal communication so badly, right? So they follow all my directions. They do every single thing in the course. They do every single thing I say. And they are like like, I got to do this thing. Here I go. I'm going to do this thing. But even look at my hands. I'm going to do this thing. What happens when you're trying too hard is you get tunnel vision. Okay. So, those of you who are saying, I want to dream, I want to have a dream, I want to dream, I want to dream of my pet on the other side, and I'm not getting that sign. If you're too focused on one thing, what's going to happen is you're going to miss all of these other signs that are coming in. It's literal psychic tunnel vision. So, the cool thing to know about that is that if you're not doing the guilt thing and it's the animals like in a place where they're sending you the messages, there's tons of messages that are coming in if you can let go of the tunnel vision and you can let go of the idea that it has to be a certain way, look a certain way, and it has to be a certain size, because that would be the fourth thing. Your tunnel vision's probably telling you, I want to dream. I want to wake up in the middle in the morning and be like, whoa, like that's what you want. And yet it's never that way. It just isn't. So there has to be this bit of trust in the process and trust in the subtlety of the signs. They're not going to hit you over the head. That takes so much work. What they're going to do is they're going to send this one, they're going to send this one, they're going to send this one. And if you can go, all right, I'm going to stop thinking it's a coincidence. I'm going to stop thinking that it has to like blow me away forever. What happens is you get more and more signs, more and more signs, more and more signs. You start trusting more, and the signs can become more solid for you. So if you want to find more ways to receive signs, I have a video called 9 Ways Pets Use Technology to Send You Signs that I will link here.